Hey, good to see you. You got here just in time. It's another SEO-to-Go special, and this time we're zooming in on local SEO. If you're a local business, you won't want to miss this one. So let's jump right on in. Whether you're a single SMB with a local area to serve, or whether you're a big name brand in the franchise world with hundreds, even thousands of local outlets, then understanding the difference between regular SEO practices and the more finely nuanced approach to local SEO is so important. In fact, it's vital to getting that coveted position in Google's local pack. That's those three prominent listings that appear complete with a map showing your location when a user searches with local business intent. And I mentioned a finely nuanced approach. There are many must-dos in local search to achieve maximum visibility. And as you're about to discover, there are just as many don't-dos unless you want to obliterate yourself from view completely by getting penalized. What else do you need to know? What about third-party services providing directory listings? What do you need to have in the local SEO toolbox to help things along? And what are the newer upcoming features in local search that will provide a richer content experience? Well, if you've seen the show before, you know what I'm about to say here. Yes, I have three of the industry's brightest minds in the field of local SEO. So let's meet my panel of experts. And here we are again for yet another Inside Marketing. It's an SEO-to-Go special. And as usual, I am so lucky because I am surrounded by greatness. We're going to be talking about local SEO, and I have three of the leading experts in the field joining me. So thank you to the three of you for giving me the time. As I always say at this part of the show, being an American citizen but a British gentleman, we will start with ladies first. And Joy Hawkins, let's come to you. Joy, how nice of you to join us and how nice to meet you.
Oh, thank you. So polite of you to let me go first.
Well, what I couldn't figure out, though, we have just been chatting, and we were talking about the heyday of SEO conferences when I ran SES. And just about everybody I meet in the industry at some point went to SES. It turns out that you went to one, but it
I
wasn't the
did.
one that I was at.
No, it's New York, and it was like one of the last ones too. So yeah, sad.
So you eventually did. Anyway, Joy, you've been around in the industry for a while. You're based up north in Toronto, I believe, yes?
Yes, outside of Toronto, but that is the closest major city to me.
Yeah, yeah. I used to love doing the show in Toronto. I love Canada, great place. I love the city. But you've been around and you've been in the local business for a while. Your company is called Sterling. It's an agency. Is your company named after Sterling Silver or Sterling in Scotland?
So Sterling Sky came out of, yes, silver. I literally liked the color silver. I wanted, like you can see the logo. I wanted silver in my logo. So literally, that's how simple it is. And Sky is my daughter's middle name.
Oh, wow. Very nice. So you've been doing that for quite some time. I noticed that you have somewhere in your past or in your history and a connection with Google, that you are kind of connected with Google as a specialist in the field of local search.
Yeah, so I'm a moderator on their forum. So they have forums for every product. And both Greg and I are moderators on the Google Business Profile Forum. So I've
Mhm.
been in that program since 2012. So quite a while.
Wow. Wow. So that's great to get a bit more about your background. We're going to jump in just a second, but something else that I always do is most of what we talked about there I can probably find on social media. What do we not know about you, Joy?
Like industry related or just anything?
Well, anything, and as long as it's not something you could be arrested for.
Oh, I don't think I have any of that. But no, in my personal life, when I'm not working, I'd say my two hobbies that get a lot of my time are pickleball and board games. So basically, like take all my free time and divide them between those two things, and that's what I do.
Wow, that keeps you busy.
We
Hmm.
kind of
Board
have a
game and
competition
pickleball at
going
the same
between the two
time.
of us on who has the most board games. I
Oh,
think she's
Greg's
winning.
not even a contest. I'm winning. Like, yeah.
Oh,
How many do
great.
you have? I have like 100.
I mean, I've got at least 100. I'd have to go count.
Okay, we should do
I
that
don't know off
sometime.
the top of my head. We should do that just to see before we hang out again.
Wow. Anyway, getting back to local SEO. Joy, thank you for joining us. Great to have you along, ready to jump in. Greg, you've been around in the industry for a long time as well, and we obviously did meet each other at some conference or conferences because you've been around for long enough. And you have your own agency or consulting firm, and also a leading specialist in local. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't actually own the agency. I'm just the chief operating officer of the agency where I am now. I've been here for about 5.5 years.
Okay, and the agency's pure local search. Yeah.
It's local search and PPC.
All right, a little bit of everything in there. So, like I say, you've been around for a long time. There's lots we can find out about you. And I didn't know, by the way, that you were also a moderator out there with Joy. So you've got a special badge or a ribbon or something that you can wear as well.
Basically,
What
yeah.
do, what do we not know about you other than the fact that you also are a board game fan?
I'm ridiculously obsessed with movies. I was actually a film major back in college. Not that I ever did anything with that, but I now at this point have 30 different movies tattooed on my body. So that's a fun little
Wow.
fact. So
Wow.
it's
Dare we
all
ask for some examples?
like I got James Bond right there. I
Holy
got the
moly.
Die Hard right there. Actually won an award at a tattoo convention. So I've got all of the stuff. I even have like my fingers. I've got the classic
Holy
Universal
moly.
Dracula, Frankenstein, Wolfman, Mummy. Everything is either a portrait of someone from a movie or an element. Like I've got ET flying across the moon right there. So I've got
Incredible.
various different things like that all over. I've got both arms completely sleeved up all the way down to fingers. I'm actually about to do the next level of knuckles at the end of the summer. And then my entire right leg is tattoos of the movie The Goonies. And I'm about halfway through doing my left leg, all horror movie stuff.
Wow.
It's an expensive
Wow.
hobby.
I can't. Did you ever see the movie Illustrated Man?
I sure did.
You did, yeah. That's what you
I'll be there
reminded me of
someday. I
there.
won't go. I say I will never do my neck or my face or my head, but when I was talking to my tattoo artist about that, he said that 5 years ago I said I would never do my hands or my fingers, and look at me now. So who knows? I probably will never do my face or my head. I just don't think it looks good there.
Yeah, one too many cocktails, and that's you staggering out of the tattoo artist's
Yeah, pretty
place.
much.
Greg, great to have you along. Thanks for
Great to be here.
joining
Thanks for
us.
having me.
Andrew Beckman, my old pal. You and I have known each other for a long time,
Yes,
way back
pretty
in the
long
day. And
time.
I guess that was probably at a conference as well. Yeah.
Of course, you lived it.
Yeah, yeah. We used to see each other all the time, all over the place as well. And we still do. Now, Location 3, you've been running that company since.
1999. So
Wow.
it was DoubleClick prior, and with the representing the Alta Vista search engine. So 1997. Started Location 3 in 1999. Got into local heavily in 2007, 8 when Google started showing the maps. Um, and so we started updating the feeds, the listings then, and got into franchising. So really focused nowadays with primarily multi-location brands um, that have individual business owners in these locations. And so I would say 85% of our portfolio is franchise systems where we provide an end-to-end solution where we act as their agency of record at the corporate level. And then we have a software platform called Local Act where the individual franchisees can log in and run incremental local advertising campaigns as well as um, see how their Google Business Profile and Apple and Bing data, and as well as just local SEO in general. So that's what we focus on right now.
Thank you to our sponsor, Location 3. If you remember, I am one of the idiots who asked you way back in the day, why do you call your business Location 3?
So it started out as L3. It was like L cubed. So it was like location, 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 which was like a local marketing real estate kind of play. But I liked it. But L3 was a trademark of level 3. So then I just took L and make it location 3. So it's location, location, location. That's kind of how it started.
Good. All right. We've known each other for a long time. We've been hanging out a while, so I know many things about you that could get you arrested. But try and find something family-wise. No, seriously, we can find out all of that. You've been in the industry for a long time. What do we not know about you, Andrew?
Well, I would like to challenge Joy in pickleball. I play a fair amount myself in Miami. I play a lot. I've got into it big time. So pickleball, and then I see a lot of live music. So you could see me in New Orleans for Jazz Festival. I'm up in New York a lot for live music. I go to a lot of concerts. I probably go to concerts, I would say most, 4 or 5 times a month. You'll
Wow,
see me at
really?
some live music. Yeah, there's some
That's
live
awesome.
music or DJs. I am very big into electronic dance music as
Wow.
well in the Miami scene. So whether it's live music or it's electronic, I love it.
The secret party man.
You know what? I go sober a lot of times too. I don't want anybody to think here that I'm just like partying. I do go pretty, you know,
You do.
even keel.
Yeah, we do. We both have a great passion for music as well. Anyway, so that's great. Things that we do and don't know about you. Something I didn't do, I forgot to do at the intro and the monologue. If you're watching this show on an HD or a 4K screen, okay, and on the left-hand side of the screen, you can see a hugely part of the screen which is much brighter than the rest. Please don't adjust your monitor. That is my shirt, and it is that loud. Okay, so it's going to be around for a while. Anyway, start of summer. So what we're going to do is talk about local search, okay, SEO at the local level. What I'd really like to do at the start, at the beginning, and we'll get everybody's opinion here. Greg, I'm going to come to you first, just to kick it off. If somebody said to you, just as a new business coming out, yeah, I'd need to do some SEO, and you say you're a local business, why would it mean that you have to do a different kind of SEO? What sets local apart from just your regular SEO?
So really it's a different algorithm. So typical SEO doesn't have any location or proximity factor included, and the local algorithm is going to include your location. The way I typically explain it to those business owners is with pizza delivery, because everybody kind of understands if you need a pizza delivered and you're going to do a Google search for pizza delivery, you're going to get places that are near your location, even if you don't specify with a phrase like near me or your city. And that makes sense. But with traditional SEO, if you rank number one, you rank number one everywhere. And with local, your physical location of where you are when you're doing the search compared to the proximity of the search results in your area will change what you see. And so it's a different way of optimizing. You have to include more things. Typically, I like to say it's a little more complex because you have additional things you have to worry about that you don't have to worry about with traditional SEO.
Got it. Just Andrew, because you've already mentioned this, that your focus has kind of been on those kind of multiple location companies. Usually, when you talk about local SEO, people think you are talking about the pizza store or the local grocery store or whatever the local business is, bar or a restaurant. When you're dealing with a company that has multiple local locations, how does that differ again? Because they're all over the place.
So you in our space, you're either dealing with a retail or service area business, right? There's two types, right? Either brick and mortar or they're just working around a certain area. I think what happens when you have a franchise that has kind of the same offering, but it's in many, many locations, not all markets have the same impression share on keywords. So there's a lot of scenarios where, just the inventory is not as strong from a local search query. From a service area business, the Google Business Profile only kind of covers a certain radius around them. So they have to build what we call neighborhood content around each and every location to try to help cover those neighborhoods, the towns around kind of the center of that location that they're trying to focus on that service area business. But it does become complex when you're dealing with hundreds or thousands of locations across the board, because trying to build authority across thousands of locations, and it becomes challenging building those signals. So that's kind of where it becomes a little different than just a SMB focusing on one little area.
So, Joy, when you're talking to your clients, and some of them, it depends on whether they've had an SEO agency or have any experience in it at all. But when you're talking to the clients that you take on board, my guess is that you probably do still start with all of the usual basic SEO stuff, which is, your keywords and on page and links. Yep, all still applies.
Yeah, we usually start by doing an audit, but I think our audit looks very different than it's very different than you go to Ahrefs and you pull in an audit, or SEMrush and put on. I think that's what people are expecting sometimes when they hear audit. And it's like we have a lot of really nuanced things that we check because, like Greg said, there's some complicated stuff like, hey, do you have department listings that are actually filtering out your main business listing? Do you have listings for people that no longer work for you floating out there that you don't know about? What about your reviews? Are there things on there that possibly we can get rid of for you? Like, there's a lot of things and like boxes to check. So we have a standardized audit that we use, but we update that thing multiple times a month. Like, it's always getting updated. And I'd say, like, while the fundamentals are probably the same, what we actually prioritize, it varies greatly based on the client and the business.
So I think I want to talk about tools and the various services that are there to help local businesses. But my guess is that obviously Google My Business, Google's still predominantly out there. Google My Business is probably one of the most important first steps that you have to take, yes?
Oh, for sure.
At a minimum.
Google Business Profile, Mike. It's progressed since for the names
Yeah,
have
the name
changed.
changed.
Again.
That would have been the third or fourth time it's changed.
The
That's for
third or
sure.
fourth time in the last year that it's changed now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's probably changed 6 or 7 times at least.
Yeah.
Google
Yeah.
Places, Google
Right.
Plus. Oh,
Google
Right.
Plus for Business.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it used to be just Google Maps. So the importance of that, the starting point there. What are the most important factors, Greg, that you need to take into account when setting up your Google Business Profile, whatever it is now?
I mean, there's the one side of what's the most important for optimizing your presence, and then there's the other side for avoiding getting in trouble. Because the problem is the three of us know exactly what you can and can't do, and we do the correct things for our clients, but the general public never really checks the published guidelines. And Google has an entire document set that are the guidelines around what you are and aren't allowed to do with your business profile. And if you break those rules, you can get suspended and or deleted from Google search results. And unfortunately, a lot of people will do things that are against the rules, not realizing that they're against the rules, and then they get suspended, and then it's a pain in the ass to get out of that suspension. So it's kind of a two-sided coin. It's the one side, it's let's fill out everything that we can the correct way, which again, the general public may not understand what's correct, and then also avoid doing something that could cause problems, because Google's very aggressive right now in trying to fight spam and fake listings. And Joy can back me up on this because we spend a lot of time on the forum, and most of the stuff that we're helping with lately seems to be related to people that have gotten suspended and they don't understand how to recover their profile.
Joy, what are some of the reasons that I could be suspended for?
There's so much, I think, misguidance on this. So a lot of people think that, like, for example, adding keywords to your business name is one of the biggest reasons. It's one of the least likely reasons that you're suspended. We actually see that, like, the guidelines are just that, they're guidelines. They're not actually rules, because some of them Google enforces and some of them they don't. They just wish people followed them. So there's a big difference there, right? Like, so let's talk about keyword stuffing. Like, shoving a bunch of keywords in your business name will help you rank better instantly. Like, I'm talking like an hour from now, you will increase in ranking against the guidelines, but not something that is enforced very well. So it's not likely to get you suspended. So lots of people do it, right? Because it's like big, little risk, big reward, right? Whereas, like, having a fake location, that's a big risk. So that's probably the number one reason that people get suspended. Or having sketchy Google accounts that are doing things and adding a sketchy user to your listing is a sure way to get your listing suspended. There's a lot of things, but I'd say probably your business doesn't exist where you say it is the biggest one.
So I guess if you've got your listing there, and that's kind of a separate entity from your website, and you could be penalized for doing something wrong there, and then
Hmm.
you're doing all the usual keyword stuffing and link spamming and everything else. When you're working at a local level, you could just actually obliterate your business.
I've seen it done. Yeah.
I'll bet. So, Andrew, if you're dealing with a much larger company that has, 100, 500 locations, you have to set up 500 business profiles.
Yeah, the retails are easier. We able to bulk upload and verify them. It's the service area businesses that we have a challenge with, where we have to have each individual franchisee take a video and show that they're a legit business, and pictures of their video of their van and the literature, and even then we've had suspension issues, and we don't even, I mean, these two will tell you more. We don't get clarity of exactly why it gets suspended. So I'm hoping to learn from them, what some of those answers are. But the verification process for a service area business is definitely tricky. And I think it just, the nature of the spam that's going on with, um, a lot of these businesses that don't have an actual retail location.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
So,
that's the problem.
so yeah, it's like everything else, I guess. And the reason that you need to use an agency or a consultant is because if you don't know shit, you're going to get yourself banned anyway.
And then you won't be able to get it back either. I was talking to a lady that works in marketing for a law firm, and I think they were in New Orleans. I don't, it doesn't matter. But their agency that they currently use, something happened and they got suspended. So when you get suspended, you'll get an email that says, "Hey, you've been suspended," and it'll tell you something, but it's intentionally vague. Then you can click a button to request reassessment, and you have to supply documentation to prove that, hey, I am this legitimate business really located at this place. Well, this agency that they were using doesn't really do local SEO. And so they just clicked, I want to reevaluate, and they didn't send anything in at all. And they just said, reevaluate me. So then it came back and said, you've been denied. And then they said, well, do it again. And then they got denied. Well, you only get 2 shots, and then that's it. So their agency burned both chances to get their listing back. And it's a legitimate office, but because their agency didn't know the process and didn't do the proper thing to get them recovered, now they've been burned, and it's a decent chance they're not even going to get their profile back. So you have to understand the process. If you do get suspended, understand that Google's not going to tell you why. And a lot of times you may have just changed a category or updated your phone number, and then suddenly you get suspended. But it doesn't mean that the most recent change that you made was what triggered the suspension. It's making a change has the system then reevaluate everything in the profile, and you have probably had something else that caused the violation that's just been there before and not noticed, but now it gets noticed, now you get suspended. But then you have to realize you have to send in the correct documentation. Like, I was helping somebody on the forum the other day, and they got suspended, and the only piece of documentation that they sent to Google support was a photo of a business card. And like, you can fake that. That doesn't prove that your business actually exists. But a lot of people think that that's all you have to do.
Right. You got to show invoices and actual legit bills
Yeah.
with your
Utility bills are
yeah,
huge.
utility bills. Yeah, that's how a lot of the verification is.
Yeah, usually if anybody asks me to show them one of those, I ask, will you pay it for me as well? um, there are so many other things that are involved with Google Profile, Google My Business, like I say, whatever it's called now, Google Posts, and of course, getting end user feedback, getting those comments. How important are those kind of peripheral things? And, is it a case of whoever has the most feedback from customers that wins, or how does it work?
Yeah, so reviews are huge, probably one of the biggest ranking signals that agencies have very little control over, right? Like I can't go get reviews for my clients. I'm certainly not advocating for buying reviews. There are some agencies out there that will post reviews for you. I would avoid those like the plague. But what we are looking at recently, we're actually building out a tool that will tell us the frequency at which all your competitors are getting reviews. So essentially, like if I'm in a market and I've got 3 or 4 main competitors that are ranking in the 3 pack, I want to know how many reviews they're getting every month. Because what we are starting to see is it doesn't matter how many you have, it matters the pace at which you're getting them compared to your competitors. So if your competitors are getting like 20 reviews a month, and you're getting one a month, you are in trouble. Like you in 6 months will probably not be ranking because Google factors it so heavily. So that is one of the things that I don't know if business owners are paying enough attention to.
So I guess it's like everything else. It's like the whole link building thing, just
Mm-hmm.
generally speaking, that's
Yep.
quality versus quantity. That, many people you can see have got like 11 million links pointing to them, and somebody else has got 187, and the 187 guy's doing better than the other guy, kind of thing. So quality. But it is interesting that you talk about, because I often wonder about those reviews. I mean, even some of the local businesses that I deal with here around where I live will come and do something in the apartment. And now they're savvy enough to say to me when they finish doing it, by the way, will you go and give me a review?
Yep.
So, I mean, I don't mind doing that as long as the work is good. So I guess as long as the client or the business owner himself understands that they're that important. But I always wondered, because it isn't too difficult to get somebody to go and fake these reviews for you. But there has to be some kind of temporal analysis that Google can see, like you say, by the number of reviews that you usually get, periodically, how frequently they come in, which is again like the way that they look at links now. If you got a link from CNN 5 years ago, don't think that's doing any good for you now. But if you got one 5 weeks ago, then probably it is doing something. So I guess what I'm saying here, and it seems that we've said this quite a lot, there's a lot of stuff that you can do on the local side that can get you in more trouble than actually help you.
So I've never seen anything negative from Google whatsoever when it comes to the volume. And like if Greg went out and got 50 reviews on his business tomorrow, I've never seen anything negative from that. Like it doesn't flag anything. In fact, most of them will probably publish. And I think Google has argued that this is natural for some business types, to get large flux of reviews at certain times, and they're fine with it. So you'd think it would be a spam signal, but I've never seen that it is.
What is the answer if you're just getting so many bad reviews, and that could be faked as well? What is the process there? I mean, I'm the business owner. Can I delete those, or do I have to go to Google, or
No.
do I just have to suck it?
That's the flip side is, honestly, Google doesn't really care if you get fake bad reviews, and they're not really going to do anything about it. It has to be a very egregiously obvious case of abuse, like the dentist that went and shot Cecil the lion years ago and then was flooded with a ton of bad reviews of people saying you're just a lion killer. Okay, well, clearly you're getting a bunch of bad reviews because you had a negative story in the press, and Google's going to remove all of those. But there's a lot of business types, attorneys, car dealers, doctors, dentists, where customers slash clients slash patients are in your CRM, and every lead that you talk to, and every customer that you have, yet you'll get a review And that review isn't like, oh, well, I talked to them on the phone and they hung up on me, so they suck. It's, I was a customer of this company and they treated me poorly and and they are listing out specifics of what happened, yet it wasn't actually a real client. Google's not going to get rid of that review. Google thinks it's a legitimate review. And the best that you can do is leave a response that says, hey, buddy, we looked through all of our records and we have no record of ever talking to somebody with your name. And the details of your story don't match up with any of the customer complaints that we've had in the last 6 months. I'm not sure why you left a fake review, but if this is a real person, you have a real complaint, call us and we'll try to make it right. But that's about all you can do. It has to be a very egregiously obvious case of abuse, like the dentist that went and shot Cecil the lion years ago and then was flooded with a ton of bad reviews of people saying you're just a lion killer. Okay, well, clearly you're getting a bunch of bad reviews because you had a negative story in the press, and Google's going to remove all of those. But there's a lot of business types, attorneys, car dealers, doctors, dentists, where customers slash clients slash patients are in your CRM, and every lead that you talk to and every customer that you have, yet you'll get a review, and that review isn't like, oh, well, I talked to them on the phone and they hung up on me, so they suck. It's, I was a customer of this company and they treated me poorly and and they are listing out specifics of what happened, yet it wasn't actually a real client. Google's not going to get rid of that review. Google thinks it's a legitimate review. And the best that you can do is leave a response that says, hey, buddy, we looked through all of our records and we have no record of ever talking to somebody with your name. And the details of your story don't match up with any of the customer complaints that we've had in the last 6 months. I'm not sure why you left a fake review, but if this is a real person, you have a real complaint, call us and we'll try to make it right. But that's about all you can do.
Would you
What?
say fake review, Greg, in your response? Like, I feel like that's like adding fuel to the fire, especially like, I don't know, engaging with trolls can
It
be bad.
depends. Usually I wouldn't say fake review. We would just basically say something like, hey, we don't know why you left a review with a fake name or not a real name, and described a situation that to our knowledge didn't happen.
This is what like confuses me, how when Joy mentioned how reviews is a big ranking factor, and it definitely influences the rankings, that negative local SEO can happen with review spam. And you can respond back to it, but at the end of the day, your star rating decreases with those negatives. And so it hurts conversion rate, right? Like, well, none of us can tell, oh, your conversion rate is X if you had a 5 point, or what it is if it's like a 3.5. It's so what the lost business is not attributable. It's impossible. And so for us to see that Google still gives reviews as much weight as it does is what's still is concerning to me in the local SEO space.
So I think it depends on your business type, right? So if you're a restaurant and you get a bad review, you'll be fine. Like every restaurant gets tons of them and whatever. If you're a
Sure.
plastic surgeon and you get a bad
Right.
review, it could literally like result in your business going under. Like it's crazy how it depends on the industry, because I have heard stories of plastic surgeons getting one negative review where they actually said their business just like halted, like they stopped getting calls, like they were able to see the actual real world impact. And it makes sense. Nobody's going to want to risk, errors on their face.
Right.
Definitely agree.
Yeah.
I think the area I see, the two areas I see that's opportunities on these Google Business Profiles is the Q&A sections, and the posts. I like to what we like to do is build out localized blog content on these pages within our client site. Like, so if I'm doing 500, we switch it up, we kind of alter the content, but we publish it on their own asset to at least give a signal that that page exists and hopefully get traffic from Google Business Profile. But I think the Q&A is a way to also try to combat some of the spam that maybe the reviews are bringing, or at least educate those consumers when they come to your Google Business Profile to convert at a higher rate.
Except the Q&A is gone now.
Is it completely gone? I still see it.
It came back, but I'm not sure if Google's going to keep it around. I keep waiting for them to can it. I
Yeah.
could be wrong.
It came back on some, but like none of our auto dealers got it back. None of our attorneys
Really?
got it back. Yeah, it'll
Okay.
show on maps. Like if you go in the Google Maps app and look them up in Maps, you can see it. But if you're looking just in Google search results, it's not showing up.
Well, it's such a I think it's a feature that they kind of had a cool idea and it didn't really roll out very well. I can't they can't seem to make up their mind with posts either. It's like they used to really show posts well, then they kind of pulled back. Now they're sort of showing them well for restaurants, but no other industries. So it's like depends on your industry how well
Yeah,
those
Yeah.
posts.
because I'm seeing it in the home care space. I'm seeing just a lot of questions, but our franchisees are not responding to it, and that's what is problematic.
So
Well, yeah, that's
I
the thing
guess
is so many
go ahead, Greg.
business owners approach their Google business profile as a kind of set it and forget it element. You set it up and then you never touch it again and you don't do any maintenance. You don't update your photos. I mean, we've talked to businesses all the time that the photos are so ridiculously out of date. It's got an old logo in the photo, or it's showing the attorney that works at that office, and all of his hair's brown, yet now he's either bald or he's got gray hair, and it doesn't match because they put the picture up 15 years ago. So it's you have to pay attention to your business profile because that's typically a customer's first impression. But I think a lot of business owners that don't use a marketing partner like one of us, they don't really realize that.
Yeah. Can I ask a question, Mike? I want to ask him a question on Google Business Profile. Have you, either of you guys, tested where there's this one company that incentivizes their users to drive to the actual business destination, and it improves the rank? Everybody's smiling, so I'll let you know what I'm asking about. Are you guys using it? How effective is it?
Oh man. Sorry, go first, Greg, because I have a lot to say on this.
I would not touch that with a 100-foot pole. That's a very easy pattern for Google to detect that you are doing stuff to cheat things there. So just the way that we run our agency, I would never suggest that a client does it. And if a client brings it up, we would say, no, don't do it. Does it potentially work? Sure. But is it a sustainable marketing practice? Absolutely not.
Okay.
So explain it again to me. What are you saying, Andrew? That paying a visit to a local business is somehow a signal that Google can
Oh
recognize?
yeah, it is a signal.
It is a
Yeah.
signal for sure.
If you have an Android or if you're using Google Maps, to clarify. If you're
Yes.
just driving, Google doesn't like have all that data on you. It depends on what. Yeah,
correct.
it's this
You're right.
thing that they're tracking.
All
Correct.
right. So that takes us to exactly where I wanted to go, which is local, mobile, so uniquely tied together. So yeah, I mean, what are you saying? Because I've got this phone, and if I'm using Android, and I did look for a business, and then I drove there, somehow Google is tracking me and knows that I searched for the business and that I actually went there.
Went to it.
Yep.
Yeah. So there's this lovely lady by the name of Holly Starks. I met her, presented along with her at a local thing here in Toronto. She coined the term. She's like the queen of black hat SEO. She is very smart. Okay, very very smart. I really like her. I enjoy talking to her. She basically made this like a business model where she grabbed I think 1,000 phones, drove around to businesses using driving directions. She actually caused a traffic jam in a street with no cars in it because of her phones, all connected to driving direction requests. And she absolutely showed, without a shadow of a doubt, that you can improve ranking fast doing this. Like, without a doubt. I've seen case over case, like, it does work. The problem is, if you stop doing it, and this is where I've talked to a lot of people that do this, I'm like, what happens if you stop doing it? Explain this to me. Well, you get that reversal, right? So if the signals don't keep coming, you lose that. So personally, as an agency, it's not something I would do for clients. I don't want any of my work being undone. I also don't want a method where I have to keep paying and paying and paying and like to do it constantly just to keep the same effect. You might as well run ads at that point, right? So
Well, and then at that point too, it's like a lot of black hat stuff. Does it work? Sure.
it does. Yeah.
Is it a real signal? Like if Google is now ranking, let's say you're doing it for some hole in the wall restaurant and you're driving 1,000 phones there, throughout the week for 2 weeks, and all of a sudden that restaurant jumps to number one. but it's a rat infested place with roaches in the bathroom, it's not going to do you any good to rank number one if your place is a crap hole, right? So it's one of those signals that, like, I would rather do the things to my clients' sites that match reality, right? Like, I want an authentic website and digital footprint that matches the experience of doing business with that business in reality. I don't want to do a bunch of stuff on the web to get them to rank, and then customers go there and customers don't get served well, or customers don't get the solution that they're looking for. Like, that's what's the point, right? Like, the business might rank number one, but they're not going to make any more money because people are going to go and see that it's a horrible rat infested restaurant and they're just going to walk right back out.
It seems crazy to me because that's kind of a noisy signal. It's like just looking at only clicks. They don't really count unless they're actually part of an access pattern. And the amount of data processing that needs to be done just to follow every car that's going to every business because they once looked on a map. I mean, it is kind of like, and we can discuss this off at a tangent for a second, when we went through the whole voice search thing and everybody's saying, oh, Siri's listening to me all the time. And every time I mention something, I see an ad for it, or I get targeted by an ad. And then think about how much processing power is required, even with these huge data centers. And that's something that's really important to think about, especially with AI right now, the amount of power for what is not really a very, very strong signal. Anyway, I get it that people could do something like that, but it's great that both the three of you, agreeing that that it's probably not. It's a bit like anything else, It's like do too much of this, and it is going to send a signal. It is going to send a signal of the wrong kind, But sorry, go ahead, Joy.
Oh no, I was gonna say it's tempting because it works so quickly, right? And
Right?
for those people that are like, look at these results, I got my
Totally.
client in 1 week. And it does
Totally.
do that. So I get the temptation, but I'm like, depends on what kind of business you want to run. First, I mean, for me, I'm like, I want clients who are going to stay for years, who I
Yeah.
can like build a brand around and help their business succeed. And I don't think this is the way to do it, even though it does work and it does work fast.
This is like that scene in Love Actually, where he says, "Kids, don't buy drugs. Become a rock star and you'll get them for free." Why is it like that? So I'm saying to the audience right now, kids, don't do this driving phone thing, okay? But if you do and it works, drop me a note and let me know, please. So mobile is so important. That brings us to the next myth, and this is true. I did see it online somewhere. I didn't actually see the restaurant, but there was a Chinese restaurant. It was called like Shanghai Joe's Chinese restaurant near me. That was actually part of the name of the restaurant. Don't tell me that works, guys.
Oh man. Okay, so yes and no. We haven't found that near me in the title matters for ranking in the map pack. It absolutely matters for organic. So adding things like near you and near me to your website content will help you rank higher in organic results. Like I've literally tracked tons of websites where we do it and we see the traffic for near me queries increase a ton, but I have not seen it for local pack rankings. Near me is treated a little differently. Like Google looks at near me and they are say, oh, proximity, we're going to show you businesses closer to you. So generally speaking, especially on mobile, if you search near me, the proximity factor increases a ton. So all of a sudden now you're not going to get as big of a radius. If Greg searches it near him, he's going to get, stuff he can potentially walk to or drive to in like a couple minutes. So it's treated differently in the two algorithms.
So
that's not too
then you
difficult
have
to
these
signal.
businesses like a dentist that changes the name of their practice to Dentist Near Me. Okay, cool. You might rank number one organically for that, but you're not going to rank in the map pack unless you're one of the 3 dental offices that's the closest to the person that's doing that individual search. Like, it's really down to the individual searcher level within the map pack. And the problem is the people that are making these changes and the people that are most of the time doing, are you looking for an oil change near me type of page on their website, they're targeting the map pack. They're thinking it's going to help them show up in the map pack. But in reality, if I'm looking for a dentist and I was going to search dentist near me, and that guy's an hour away versus there's 5 that are within 5 minutes of me, why would I drive an hour away just because his name matches my search query? So like, I don't really think it's a sustainable strategy.
Yeah, I mean that your phone is actually a signal that's telling Google, in terms of context, who I am, where I am, what time of the day it is, all of these other things, and that give the context. And I've always thought about it this way. I mean, if you actually go and search for something in Google Maps, and it gives you the name of the restaurant or whatever it is that you're looking for, and then there's a little thing that says nearby, and I click that, and it says bars or restaurants or whatever, yeah, and I click on pubs, and it shows me a list of all of the pubs that are surrounding me. So it's not very difficult that if I am standing in a particular location, here in New York City, yeah, and I go pizza restaurant near me, that it should just be able to tell me literally 200 yards away around the corner.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and then the other thing that bugs me about it, like Joy said, it really works. I work with a lot of car dealers. I can put a page on one of my car dealer websites that says that's optimized with title tag and H1 heading and through the text of I am optimizing that page for oil change near me. The part that bugs me is grammatically it's not correct to have a heading at the top of the page that says, "Are you looking for an oil change near me?" It would be, "Are you looking for an oil change near you?" Like the me then refers to the business of the website, which is not what people are searching for. So the grammar part is like nails on a chalkboard to me. And it's frustrating that it still works because, I mean, it still works to say you. It works. I mean, at least when we've tested it, saying
Yep,
me or you, it's effectively the same thing. It still
it
works.
is.
I just hate that everybody out there uses the me version because then when customers are reading the website, the grammar's just like makes me want to pull my eyeballs out of my head.
Yeah.
So
Just do
here's
near you. You're fine.
Yeah.
yeah. So here's an interesting thing then. I haven't done this before, but you guys probably have tried it to see if it does make a difference. If I am standing in the middle of Manhattan and I go pizza restaurant near me,
Right.
and it shows me a pizza restaurant 200 yards away, what if I just search for pizza restaurant without near me?
They're
I'll get
different.
the same. I'll get the same pizza restaurant, won't I?
You won't
No.
necessarily. Because when you say near me, at least within the map pack, you're explicitly telling Google you want the closest results to your current physical location. When you don't specify near me and you just search pizza restaurant, or you could say pizza restaurant Queens or pizza restaurant Manhattan or whatever, then it's going to be constrained to whatever. If you explicitly state a city, it's going to be within that city, but it's more traditional, like who's going to have more reviews, who's going to be more optimized, who's a better business. So the guy that ranks number 1 for the near me search might not rank at all in the map pack for just pizza.
Well, Greg, you can specify the range of where you want the businesses,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That plays a factor.
But Mike, another thing that you could do is you could search pizza restaurant and then walk a block away and do the same search again, and you'd get different results because your location has changed.
Mm-hmm.
And in downtown New York, there's a pizza restaurant like every 5 doors. So that would change as well.
Yeah.
Sorry, Andrew, I talked over you there.
No. That's what it is. Obviously the phone has geocodes when it's moving, right? It's constantly changing every step you make. And so, when I look at a lot of the schema markups, of the local schema markups, not as many as they should be. I mean, I push it for all my clients to put the geocodes in place and so what I'm trying to solve for service area businesses is that I know everybody's like, oh, schema is not a ranking factor, but if my geocodes are close to the geocodes that you mark up on the pages, wouldn't that deliver those non-Google Business Profile pages up to the top because I'm in proximity with each other?
Not really, because outside of the map pack, when you're talking like the 10 blue links that you would normally see,
correct.
that to a degree, proximity still matters. Like if I'm searching pizza delivery and I'm in Dallas, I'm not going to see a place in New York or Chicago because that's the best pizza place in the country, right?
Sure.
But proximity is much less important in the organic 10 blue links than it is in the map pack.
Yeah, I know, I agree with you, but I still see it. I'm curious of the differentiation between the Google Business Profile post and those 10 blue links from a proximity standpoint, because they are showing me localized results in the organic. It's just I'm wondering how close it is to that proximity. That's what I'm trying to get my head around.
So you mentioned markup schema, taking a look at um, a different type of data. It's structured data. Usually, when people have talked about structured data and how important it is for a website, well, if you're like a global massive entity, it's probably great. But if you're a small business, I don't know that people do fully understand. Well, it's difficult to explain to the regular person that there's a big difference between unstructured data and structured data that you can feed right away. But could we just touch on that for another minute or so and give me your thoughts? Because Andrew, you said that structured data won't affect ranking. Well, structured data on its own probably won't affect ranking. But I spoke to a Google engineer who explained to me that if your SEO is good and you're already beginning to show signs of ranking, you're already beginning to move up the chart, that's the time, he says, that we decorate you. And once you've passed the kind of trust test, that's the time that they decorate you. You've got the structured data, and then you end up getting a better presence because you end up at the top of the results with 6 photographs, or you're on a
Right. Yeah.
something like that. So
Look,
indirectly, it would work.
well, it also, I mean, look, it doesn't hurt you to mark up the pages with, every recognizable schema markup, local business, reviews, menu if you're a business, because if Google decides to put your results on your information on the result page, you have that markup. But as AI search engines, however you want to call them, are uh, learning from the content of our pages, educating them more so with that information, I think will help get more relevance within the results.
Yeah, totally agree with that.
Joy?
So we've done a lot of tests on schema. I've just never seen a case where adding schema changed where a business ranked. And we've tried a lot of different types. What I have seen is that the content you use in schema is treated the same as like content on your page. So for example, if I wanted to rank for I'm the best, coolest SEO in the world, and I put that somewhere in a schema code, that would have a similar effect to if I put that content on my site. So it does look at it. So I think that's some of the cases I've seen where people are like, well, I put this thing in my schema, and I'm like, right, but if you just put it on your website, you would likely see the same effect. I
But
think
if
the
you're an
problem.
events business, say, and you have, every night of the week, you have different artists or different things going on, it's easier to be able to update using schema than it is to just update the website and hope you get crawled very quickly.
See, I would argue it's easier to update the website because then you don't need to figure out coding and like brackets
Yeah,
and
I would
things.
too.
But to give you an example, we had a recent case with a client who had an AI overview showing a wrong phone number. Like it showed his business name with somebody else's phone number. What we changed on the site to fix it was like the phone number literally had, so it was like 999-999-999, whatever. We put brackets around, like parentheses, whatever you want to call them, around the first 3 numbers. That fixed it, like fixed the AI overview. So like, again, maybe you could have done schema to tell Google my number is this, but I think it was easier just to fix the formatting on the website personally.
So can I just change the direction for a second? Everything seems to be about Google and Google My Business, Google Profile, whatever it is, blah 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 blah, and generally optimizing for Google. But what about services such as Yext?
Oh.
how do these
You
companies?
picked a bad topic, Mike.
No, we have to talk about it, guys.
So we did a test on a non-named data provider company that you pay an annual subscription for, which I'm not going to name. But most of the citations that you get from those are not in Google's index, like the whopping majority, like 95+% of the samples that we looked at, which were hundreds and hundreds of listings. So I do not think you need to pay for an annual subscription that is putting you on directory sites that very few users use and that the majority of their pages are not even in Google's index.
They're not getting crawled. They don't bring traffic, right? You look at their analytics, you don't get traffic. I think Mike, I think companies like Yext or Uberall and these other citation distribution platforms are not anywhere worth what they're commanding for pricing. I think uh, you're better off not, just going direct to Google, direct to Apple, direct to Microsoft, right? There's, and Facebook, right? Those handful. The term citations, I think, is taking on a whole new meaning at local, where the citations you're talking about with Yext, no good ski, but building your mentions on real relevant sites in your local markets is where local SEO battle is going to take place moving forward, right? The local publications that if I can get my oil change company to be mentioned, that will be learned by ChatGPT, by Gemini, and that's where I'm going to get indexed.
I don't
And
even care about a
that's where
link anymore.
I don't care about a link. Yeah, right.
So I guess it's a good job that my question wasn't just directly, what do you think about Yext and online directories, guys? Anyway,
Well,
thank you for that feedback. I mean, I guess at the end of the day, they serve a purpose somewhere down the line because they're still in business. If they weren't sending any traffic, I don't know why you would pay
no,
them, but that's a
no,
different.
no, they're not sending you traffic. They're letting you up to date Google, Microsoft. Let's just say it was $100. I'm telling you, it's probably worth $10. Like, I don't have a problem with the tools and allowing you to update, but the cost is so astronomical for what you truly get that you can go direct, Mike. That if Google's not talking about it or not saying, hey, you don't really need these tools, they're just taking advantage of most companies' naiveness of what they actually bring.
On the subject of tools, because these shows are just never long enough. 60 minutes is just never long enough. But on the subject of tools, are there any specific tools that you would recommend or that you use yourself or even that you've developed yourself, like, I don't know, SEMrush, Ahrefs, that are really useful for local search, or is there not a speciality tool for local search?
There definitely is. I mean, my favorite is Places Scout. They
Same.
actually just got bought by Yext, which,
The irony.
but
Good thing or
but
bad
I
thing?
think I hung out with the Places Scout guys and some of the Yext people at SEO Week in New York, and I think it was a really smart move on Yext's part because Yext's entire business model was directory management, right? And that really just doesn't matter to the algorithm anymore. So they're trying to pivot, and they saw what Places Scout had built, and they were like, "Hey, we can make a really kick-ass tool for enterprise businesses with all of the capabilities of Places Scout." So they bought Places Scout. So I think that's really smart for them to pivot and get away from being purely a directory listing company and being more of a really robust local SEO tool set. But yeah, I think Bright Local is also really awesome. Whitespark is great as well. I love Whitespark's local rank tracker. Those are really kind of my three must-haves for local SEO.
So I would
Andrew,
add to
you have
the.
your own tool.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I mean, we've got our guys building some things that are kind of cool, but it's like a specific tool that does one little thing. Like, I would never go try to build Places Scout because there's just no way that my team could build that. Even over 10 years, it would cost me more in development costs than just getting the tool from Places Scout.
But Andrew, you have built a tool, yes?
Well, I mean, we built a platform called LocalAct where we pull in GA4, Google Search Console. So from a local, and obviously I have all the APIs from like Google Business Profile. So those are tools I use, and the reporting I use for the tracking. Uh, the other stuff that we've kind of built is more building content using AI, and so I would say, or I automate my Google Business Profile posts. So I got to do 1,000. We can build it. So those the tools we use internally just to kind of speed things up on our end.
So,
But
guys, we've only got 2 minutes. No, sorry. Go ahead and finish.
no, I would say the what I've heard from at least Greg, yeah, and I love what Joy is more the ranking, and they're using tools that are scraping, and I'm just curious of how accurate those are, and so I am kind of so with those tracking tools.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah,
take
we're
it
gonna
with
have
a
to come
grain of
back and
salt.
do all
Like,
of this
it's not
again.
going to be exactly the same thing as a human would see searching from that
Sure.
location.
Yeah.
But as a high level overview, I think the Place to Scout rank tracker is stellar. I think White
Okay.
Spark is really darn good, and White Spark's gorgeous. So I'd use White Spark just because it's pretty. But I think both of those are. I mean, are they as accurate as what I would specifically see if I was in that town searching from that specific location? I mean, it might be a little bit off, but compared to like a SEMrush or an Ahrefs or even like a Majestic or a Moz, they're infinitely more accurate.
Okay.
All right, guys, we only have 2 minutes to tackle the biggest subject here, so we're going to have to get back together and do this again. But seriously, we've just got a couple of minutes. Give me your thoughts, random as they may be, about local and AI overviews. Do I stand a chance as a local business of turning up in an AI overview?
We have tons of clients that take, and we are successful at taking over AI overviews. So if you are good at SEO, you can absolutely like take those on Google. It's a lot of similar strategies to what you do for regular SEO. So certainly you can take them over. Whether or not it's worth your effort is to be determined. What we have seen so far is that they don't deliver much traffic at all, and they actually steal traffic from you. So if you are the number one position and an AI overview pops in, you're screwed. Like your traffic is going to completely go down. Now, the good news is that we haven't seen a massive impact to like sales, like bottom lines to businesses. So I still think traffic drops are crap for businesses. I don't think they're good, but it's not the end of the world because the majority of the like searches that are really big money makers for businesses are still going to actual businesses.
Yeah, I just want to add that with regards to the AI overviews, definitely are taking traffic away. You really have to lean in on the true conversion data, right? So call tracking, I'm putting call tracking on every one of our SEO clients. It has to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the only way. I'm either form fills or call tracking or GA4 click to call. Anywhere I can just track conversions, as long as that's up. I guess I don't care if the visits are going down as long as I can show the performance is still there. I do want to say, because I have the end, I know I'll let Greg go with the AI overviews. I just want to say that universal search bringing with local is a big topic that we should talk at another session. Reddit and all the social networks. I mean, it's dominating local search.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, like with the AI overviews, I work with a lot of car dealers, and the only thing that AI overviews are hitting in automotive yet is the informational, like really high level type stuff. Anything that's transactional or it's going to lead to conversions, it's just not touching yet. So we don't really see that happening. I think we kind of approach it like Joy, like it's like a featured snippet. Like if it's there, yeah, you can go steal it, but does it really matter if you show up for the AI overview for something? Because likely in that area, like in Dallas, there's 24 dealers in Dallas. Do I care if I show up for some really high level Ford query in Dallas? No. I care if my guy's selling cars or not. And in automotive, the whole privacy blocker thing has been such a big deal, and most dealers are using this vendor that has a pop-up that appears on the bottom of the website that says, do you want to be tracked or do you want to have a private session? If you say you don't want to be tracked, it turns off Google Analytics. So I have a ton of clients that over the last year, because they've started to use this one vendor, have lost 50% to 70% of their website traffic. Not because it's really gone, but because Google Analytics isn't reporting that traffic. So we've already kind of pivoted away from traffic as a KPI. It's bottom line. Like, are you still making conversions? You're still making sales. Who really cares how people get there? We're not in a world of we're just doing these one SEO keyword thing here and this one SEO keyword thing here, and that's making you get better rankings, and that means you win. It's we're doing marketing. We're doing things to surface you when people are looking for an answer, so that hopefully you're the solution and they'll buy your stuff.
Well
So here's
put.
the interesting thing, just for us to close out on, that I am preparing a program with a few guys who've started these new AI agencies and are only responsible for trying to get you visibility in AI overviews and Perplexity and that kind of thing. It'll be interesting to see from a business point of view how important that is. Anyway, for the moment, guys, this has been great. It's never enough time in 1 hour to do this. And Andrew, you're absolutely right. We've really got to do another one so we can get on to all of the other aspects, because the nuances in local search are much greater than people think. So thank you to the three of you for joining me. I really do appreciate it. I hope you'll come back another time. Yes.
Anytime.
Thank you.
And that's it from me and from my guests for this one. But as you heard, we'll be back again with another focus on local SEO. So be sure never to miss a show. Go ahead and like this one. Remember to subscribe, and I'll see you again on the next one. Bye for now.